Host, hello everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that might make you feel a little uncomfortable. Why? Because if you've spent the last few years or even decades exhaustively counting calories, hunting through supermarket aisles like a detective staring at fat grams on nutrition labels, or drowning in guilt because you had an extra slice of cake, then what I'm about to say might just flip your entire world upside down. Part 1. The Flat Earth Theory of the Weight Loss World. Want here to talk about a new fat diet pill or a starvation scheme. We are diving deep into a heavyweight paper in the field of evolutionary medicine, published by researcher Ian Spreadberry in the journal Diabetes, Metabolic Syndrome and Obesity, Targets and Therapy. This study proposes a shocking reality. We aren't getting fat because we eat too much or because we lack willpower. We're getting fat because our internal fat thermostat has broken. And the culprit behind this system failure isn't just fat or carbs. It's a dirty little secret hidden in the relationship between food density and gut flora. Get ready, we are going on a 2 million year evolutionary journey to find the real motive behind modern obesity. Part 2. The Ketava Revelation. High carbs neck obesity bear. We unmask the villain. Let's look at a counterintuitive case study. If you ask a keto enthusiast today, what happens if someone eats 70% carbohydrates and tons of saturated fat every day? They tell you it's a one-way ticket to obesity and diabetes. But reality tells a different story. The paper highlights the Kitavans of Melanesia. Their diet is a modern nutritionist's nightmare. 60% to 70% of calories from carbs, tubers like yams, cassava, and sweet potatoes. 17% of calories from saturated fat, mostly from coconuts. The result, scientists found virtually zero overweight people, let alone diabetes or heart disease. Even the elderly maintain incredibly healthy blood pressure. More interestingly, their leptin levels. Think of leptin as your body's fullness signal. When fat stores are sufficient, leptin tells the brain, hey boss, we've got enough energy. Stop eating and crank up the metabolism. In the West, obese individuals have very high leptin because they have more fat. But they can't stop eating. This is leptin resistance. The Ketavans, however, have leptin levels lower than even elite Western marathon runners. This means their bodies are incredibly sensitive to the signal. Their fat thermostat is as precise as a Swiss watch. This proves that macronutrient ratios, carbs versus fat and even glycemic index G, aren't the primary drivers of obesity. So, where is the truth? Part 3. The core hypothesis. Cellular versus a cellular prefer. Spreadberry proposes a concept that subverts the entire food industry. The key isn't the carbohydrate itself, but its cellularity. We must distinguish between two forms. Cellular carbohydrates. This is the ancestral food we ate for 2 million years. Think sweet potatoes, apples, and root vegetables. The carbs are locked inside living cells with fibrous walls. Even when cooked, these walls remain mostly intact. This limits nutrient density physically. Most of the cell is water. The density of non-fibrous carbs in a natural tuber tops out at about 23%. Cellular carbohydrates. This is the DNA of modern processed food. Flour, sugar, extracted starches. In a factory, the cell walls are pulverized. Carbs are no longer locked in cellular warehouses. They are loose powders. If you go low-fat, to keep eating refined flour and sugar, the toxin factory stays open 24/7. This is why low-fat diets often fail. You remove the truck, but the mastermind is still in charge. Part VI. The ignored starting point. The mouth. This part is truly shocking. We think weight loss is about the waistline, but the war starts in the mouth. High-density sugars and flours rapidly shift the oral microbiome. The paper cites research showing that simply observing specific oral bacteria can predict obesity with 98% accuracy. This means periodontal disease and metabolic disease share the same root. An attack on both ends of our digestive tract by cellular fuels. Part 7. Return to common sense. The Paleolithic logic. Is the solution? Spreadberry's research points to a return to whole food structures, similar to a Paleolithic diet. In a powerful controlled experiment, when participants switched to whole foods vegetables, fruits, lean meat, tubers, and excluded grains and processed foods, two things happened: spontaneous calorie reduction without being told to restrict. Participants naturally ate 20% to 30% fewer calories. Metabolic repair, even when calories were kept identical between groups. The whole food group saw significantly better improvements in blood pressure and insulin sensitivity. The takeaway: the human body is not a simple calculator. We need to stop counting calories and start fixing our food structure. By eating cellular foods, you quell gut inflammation and reconnect the wires to your brain. Weight loss stops being a battle of willpower and becomes an act of biological alignment. Part 8. Conclusion and vision. The culprit isn't how many grams of carbs you eat. It's whether those carbs are living in a cell or pulverized into dust. Next time you're at the store, don't just look at the calorie count. Ask yourself, is the cell wall still there? If it came off a conveyor belt as a powder, it's a killer for your fat thermostat. If it grew out of the ground in its original form, it has an ally. One day, we might have probiotics to clean up the mess. But until then, the best medicine is on your plate. Thank you for listening to this deep dive by VitaChoice Ltd. Next time you eat, choose the vitality of the cell. See you next time.